Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Indian album, From All Purity.
Annie, what's going on with your tap over there? Here.
It's not a big deal. It's just hair. Well, it's on your head too.
Where?
Indian is a metal outfit
Where?
from Chicago. This is
Where?
their fifth full-length LP,
Where?
their second
Where?
for Relapse Records. I first heard of these guys back in 2011 through their previous full-length LP, Guiltless, an album that showed a huge jump in recording quality from Indian's old stuff and their newer stuff. The band took their already booming and abrasive sound and made it heavier and more hard-hitting. And this larger, grander scope and fidelity also allowed them to experiment more with melody and noise too. Now, anything in Indian songs that might be the least bit catchy or accessible is only ever a side dish to brittle, harsh guitar distortion that's melted in with the bass guitar, which is incredibly heavy. And these two instruments are fused together to the point where the guitars just create this pummeling white noise wall of sound. A lot of Indian's tracks have some really primal drums, wretched, black metal influenced vocals that are very throaty and disgusting. And all of these things are played at a tick or two slower than they were on Indian's previous LPs. The band really sought out to create this harsh, overbearing atmosphere that slowly scratches away at what little hope you have left for the world. And it works. The most notable change in pace on this record in terms of Indian's sound is their use of noise. A lot of tracks here make use of additional effects and just ear-piercing sounds, making the 6 tracks here incredibly unpleasant to listen to. And I definitely would not call Indian's previous records easy listening, and they are one of those bands that slowly fine-tunes their sound record to record, but if there is any one element that you can pull out of this album and say, whoa, this is where they're headed, it is with just a noise torch held high. Even the track Clarify on this record is this 4-minute and 30-second noise interlude with all of these harsh tones and pieces of distortion and just dissonance, creating this putrid landscape while vocals are thrown on top. It's very hellish, and as vile and as disgusting and as unsettling as some of the tracks are on here, they reach this level of nastiness that is kind of awe-inspiring, like on the track Directional, which behind the very huge monolithic riffs that play in the foreground, there are walls of distortion and feedback screaming away in the background. And as the track progresses, some of this noise hanging back there gets kind of glitchy. And keep in mind, the riff that is playing in the foreground, it does not change up in a significant way as the track progresses. This is a very mind-numbing, soul-crushing song. There are slight changes of pace from track to track, like on the song The Impetus Bleeds, which is easily the most melodic song on this entire LP. A bit of doom metal with some very sad, mournful guitar leads. It reminds me a little bit of that Paul Bearer album that dropped a few years back. And even though the song is incredibly harsh, I do think the very sad guitar playing and chord progressions on this track do make it a little more digestible. And then there's the track Rhetoric of No, which is easily the most visceral, exciting, hard-hitting song on this entire LP. Really picks up the pace and the tempo a little bit and delivers some riffs that really you can bob your head to. But with how aggressively this song starts, it should be no surprise that the ending of this song is one of the most ear-splitting moments on this entire album. And then there's the finale on here, Disambiguation, a track that I wish lasted a little bit longer. I wish didn't cut off so abruptly. The album overall is 40 minutes long, and with something that really kind of tries to draw your life force away from you very slowly, I do wish it added 10 minutes of soul-sucking misery. Either way, this is one of the most extreme tracks on this entire LP, with the song, the riffs, the noise getting louder and harsher and just, ooh, just every bar that passes by, the song just incrementally gets more and more and more. The riffs just get heavier and heavier. There are some black metal style melodies that sort of introduce themselves in the second half of this song too. I like that on this song and some others here too, like the opener as well. Indian does manage to take some of these very, very harsh songs and just raise the heat on them so slowly that you don't even realize it's happening unless you compare the end of one song to the beginning of one song. And while that doesn't sound all that pleasurable in theory, and I'm not promising that everybody is going to like what Indian has to offer on this record, it does create a certain emotional or auditory sensation that I find to be very powerful, very disturbing in a way. Overall, what Indian does on this record is take doom metal, fuse it with noise music for an incredibly hideous set of songs. What I'm hearing on this record really reminds me of the music of bands like I Hate God, but pushed to a more dismal and grating extreme. And while a lot of the sounds on this record do make me wince, I simultaneously have a bit of a morbid infatuation with what goes on with this record as well. I do think some people will have issues with this record, seeing it as being redundant or kind of one note, and that's fine. There are no rays of sunshine that peek through the clouds, but personally I wish there was a bit more diversity on this thing, a bit more experimentation. Maybe Indian could let go of some of their metal roots and sort of dive more wholeheartedly into noise music, or see what space could actually do, you know, sort of leaving moments of quiet in the midst of their very hard-hitting songs, and see what that does for making for a very jarring auditory experience. Because if they were seeking to do anything, it was that. Create something jarring. I am feeling a light to decent 8 on this thing. Transition, if you've given this record a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Anthony Fantano, Indian, forever.